So, for the first article, I have always heard of the war on drugs and how it disproportionately targets people of color in terms of incarceration and racial profiling. Also, I think nonviolent drug charges are much too severe than they should be. It isn't fair for someone to go through the punishment and then still be branded as a felon for the rest of their life, ruining chances of getting most jobs and losing the right to vote. Additionally, the fact that there are little to no resources for inmates incarcerated for drugs in terms of addiction treatment leaves a person more vulnerable once they are released to relapse. It seems as though the war on drugs has done much more damage than it has helped. In the article, the authors discuss a couple of ways the war on drugs has changed over the years. For one, marijuana has been removed as a Schedule IV drug, and legislation has been created to decriminalize it federally. The authors also talk about how some countries have tested regulated drug supply models, which would provide a safer way to combat drug abuse. Another negative outcome of this drug war, the authors mention, is how overdose induced homicide laws deter people from making life saving calls to 911 out of fear that they will get in trouble. I personally haven't been directly affected by the war on drugs, but one thing that stuck out to me in the article was the regulated drug supply idea. It's interesting that it's essentially just doing the opposite of what's happening now, but it sounds like a promising way to change things up. I hope to see improvement in the future on the way drug issues are handled. For the second article, I believe the authors are saying that the rise in the popularity of crack cocaine kind of changed the course of life for some people in the Bronx in the 70s. I think that the trajectory makes sense, especially since there was a big loss of factory jobs in New York around that time, and that it was so easy to start a drug dealing business due to crack being in such demand. I do believe a lot of different things need to be considered when analyzing someone who makes such damaging choices. In the article, the authors suggest the fact that immigrants have such high expectations of themselves to achieve the American dream and be wealthy when they are much less likely to be able to attain that due to the lack of resources available to them. The authors discuss how, after the crack market collapsed, the people in the article started to carry out violent robberies in order to get rich. This seems like an example of having the get rich or American dream mentality and doing whatever they felt like they had to do to achieve that. I've definitely seen examples of people being so desperate for money that they do illegal things to get it. It is hard to judge someone when you aren't in their shoes, and I know that good people make bad decisions sometimes. I think there's also a mental health aspect that plays a big part in why people make decisions like the ones in the article.